In this video, I'm going to demonstrate time-based ABC using a combination of exercise 952 and 968. ABC is certainly a much more accurate way of assigning costs because we're drilling down to what's really happening in the company and the activities and what's really driving those, looking at those drivers in particular. But certainly that's going to take more resources to isolate the activities and keep those up-to-date measures for those drivers. Not every company has those resources. So a bit of a compromise would be using time-based, time-driven ABC and assuming those activities are driven by the duration driver time, which for most companies is a bit easier to measure. For this particular company, we distribute food purchased in bulk to small retailers. We have two different divisions, purchasing and distribution. What we're looking at in this particular problem is the distribution side. And in particular, we're trying to look at the cost of distribution overall, which is given as 826,200, and drill down to a time-based measure. What would that be cost be per minute? It also indicates to us that distribution performs three different tasks: taking orders, picking orders, and packaging orders. So I'm going to start out and calculate a cost per minute. Again, the cost in total is given as 826,200. I need to divide that by the available minutes. So I'm going to use the details they give me. I'm going to take the 15 employees times 50 weeks times 40 hours per week that they indicate. Now, you may ask here and say, why am I multiplying that times 0.85, which would be 85%, because our assumption is that they don't work 100% of the time for these particular efforts. In fact, that they tell us that 15% of the employees' time is used for training and administrative tasks. So if I take 100% minus 15%, that would be 85% or times 0.85. One thing that's often missed is many people stop here. That would give us total hours available. I also need to multiply it times 60 minutes per hour. That would give me total minutes available based on these facts of 1,530,000. So if I take the cost of distribution of 826,200 divided by 1,530,000 minutes, I get an estimated cost of 54 cents per minute. Part B asks me to then cost an order. Well, they already indicate that it takes 10 minutes to take the order, so 10 plus 14 minutes to pick the order. Now I'm up to 24 plus 20 minutes to package the order. So that would be a total of 44 minutes times 54 cents per minute. So on average, I'd expect a typical order to cost me $23.76. The next thing we're going to start to work towards is understanding what costs we have for the capacity that we're not using. Because when we go back to these minutes available, that's theoretical if everybody's working 100% in terms of efforts, and we've got the orders that we really need to get. So in C, they first ask us, what minutes aren't we using? So we'll take a look at first what minutes are being used. So I'll look at, it takes 10 minutes to take an order. How many orders do I take? 25,000, so I'll multiply that. Add to that it typically takes 14 minutes to pick an order, so I'll multiply that times, they indicate that there's 30,000 orders picked. And then add to that the fact that it takes 20 minutes to package an order. And they also tell us how many orders are packaged, 27,700. I'll multiply that out and say we actually used 1,224,000 minutes. Now you may ask, what's the discrepancy between these? Because we receive so many orders, but certain items may be out of stock, so we may have to ship later. Also, we may be realistic that then sometimes we consolidate some of our packaging, so that's why we have a smaller number packaged than picked. I'm going to compare or subtract my 1,224 minutes used from my theoretical capacity of 1,530,000 minutes available, and I get unused minutes of 306,000. Now, assign cost to the unused minutes. I'm going to take that 306,000 minutes unused times 54 cents per minute, our original calculation, and that gives me an assigned cost of $165,240 assigned to cost of unused minutes or capacity that we didn't fully tap. There is a second part to this particular problem, and I'm just going to carry over the same original cost per minute estimate of 54 cents. If I read through this last paragraph, they say, hey, yes, this information about taking orders, picking orders, and packaging orders was realistic for a more simplistic order. But we have some additional challenges. And in fact, if this is the first time we're taking an order from a customer, we have to verify things like the shipping address, credit, and so on and so on. And they estimate that that's going to take an additional 30 minutes. So a more complex order from a new customer, taking the order is not going to be 10 minutes. We're going to add an additional 30 minutes. It'd be 40 minutes total. They also indicate that sometimes there's retailers that order a lot of different items. And because of that, it's going to take extra time to pick. So while the more simplistic order took 14 minutes, we need to add 20 minutes to that for a total of 34 minutes for a more complex order with a lot of additional items that need to pick. So for this, while we originally in the first part calculated the typical order, what if it's the most complex order possible? It's the first time with the customer and they order a lot of stuff. So my cost for that complex order would be 40 minutes now total for taking orders, plus 34 minutes total for picking orders, plus it didn't affect packaging, 20 minutes for packaging, times 54 cents per minute, and that drives up the cost. Our original calculation for typical, if I go back to the first part for part B, is $23.76. Now we're bumping it up to $50.76 for a more complex order.